This man posted in the Am I the A-hole subreddit, and I see a distinct difference between when a man posts in the Am I the A-hole subreddit and when women do. Women are looking for validation. Men seem to be vague. They leave out a lot of things. Just listen to this. And do you notice the difference between men posting in the Am I the A-hole subreddit and women? Let me know in the comments. But listen to this question. Would I be the a-hole if I took half of my wife's business in our divorce? He's trying to take half of the business. Okay, I'm sure he's probably going to be the a-hole, but let's look at the post. I acknowledge that I'm biased at the onset. All right, so wife is 58, he's 64, and they're getting a divorce. So this whole great divorce phenomenon. He says, my wife and I are divorcing. She doesn't want therapy. She only wants out and isn't currently talking to me. During an argument, she said, I'm done being civil, practically screaming it. In that moment, I thought, okay, B word, me too, but didn't actually say it. My wife owns a business and does pretty well with it. Actually makes more than I do, but not much more. My lawyer states I'm entitled to half its worth. We need a business appraisal to determine its value, but it's roughly worth around 300 to 360K. In initial discussions, I was going to let her keep her business if she agreed not to come after my Social Security, a deal that would be heavily in her favor. I don't think I should do that anymore, but when I was talking with a coworker about all of this, she seemed to suggest I'd be an a-hole if I did that. I asked my coworker if she thought that because she's a woman and sometimes women take stances based on gender, but she replied that that was not the case. So here I am asking, would I be the a-hole if I took the half of the business value? Edit to clarify, my wife would keep her business but give me half its appraised value from other shared assets. I absolutely would never destroy her business or income, as some suggest I want to. Another edit, thanks to all who enlightened me to the Social Security rules and it's not being affected in a divorce. I'll be talking with my lawyer more about this going forward. Edit number 3. Lots here are asking why we are divorcing and making sometimes crazy assumptions, etc. Though I'm not here for all of that, I will say, listen to this, because most of this has been muddy. I will say a breakdown in communication led to a breakdown in trust. And I came to believe my wife is hiding money from me. I won't be saying any more about this. This third edit definitely gave me some red flags, talking about a breakdown in communication led to a breakdown in trust. And these are older people. She's 58, he's 64. We don't even know how long they've been married. So she could have been talking about, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. These things have changed over the course of our relationship. I would like to work on it. And a lot of the times what we have seen, and I'm filling in blanks here in my brain, just based on the fact that he didn't give us any information, that he probably was ignoring her requests. As soon as she shut down and stopped talking, then it becomes a breakdown in communication for him. But there was probably a breakdown in communication a long time before he even noticed. And then the fact that he says, I came to believe my wife is hiding money from me. Maybe this is the part where I said that she was probably executing a plan to get out of here and be able to rebuild her life. And he wants to destroy that. But that is what I have come to and how I filled in the blanks, because these people are purposely obscure when it comes to talking about this, because they asked this question in the Am I the A-hole subreddit, knowing that they are probably being the a-hole. Let's see how the comments are landing. May says, I'm thinking there is a lot unsaid in this post based on your ex saying she's done being civil. And he says, yeah, there's lots unsaid. My wife has been hiding money from me and wants a divorce because I'm looking for it. It's a whole other story that doesn't really pertain to the question being asked. And Porcelain Thunder says, wait, how is this not pertinent here? Other than probably being a side story that be a pain in the butt to type out and deter or detract from the main question you're asking. Or I suppose a better question, how do you think this information is not relevant to the situation? Why do you think it won't give your readers a clearer idea of what's going on? Because if she's hiding money, maybe she's trying to escape for some reason. And then you're going to have other people cheering like, yeah, take her money. And we don't even know how this dude is. Was he abusive? Was he financially abusive and she had to put money aside? We don't know anything. And then this person is just saying, I have lots of questions. Do most of your problems come down to money? Teresa says, not the a-hole. Instead of taking half the business, I recommend using the value of the business as leverage to get something else in the divorce. For instance, if you have a retirement account, trade the $180 of the business for the $180,000 of your retirement account, so you get to keep your retirement funds and your soon-to-be ex keeps her business. But the thing is, I get that he feels entitled to her business or whatnot, but why wouldn't that be like her retirement? Does she even have a retirement fund? Maybe her business was her retirement fund. Whatever divorce judge gets this case, I really hope that they are fair in how they divvy this up, because honestly, this dude sounds just vindictive, and we don't even know why. We don't know what the breakdown in trust was. We don't know any of the dynamics of this relationship. Here's the OP saying, yeah, this, and I said it already when I said I'd take half of the value. I would never take her source of income. And then Pet Rock says, that is not what you're saying in your post. Then gives a quote, in initial discussions, I was going to let her keep her business if she agreed not to come after my Social Security, a deal that would be heavily in her favor. I don't think I should do that anymore. But when I was talking with a coworker about all this, she seemed to suggest I'd be an a-hole if I did that. And then Few Pineapple says, half the business value, which provides the income, will have the income. It's no surprise that you don't run a business. Talking about the soon-to-be divorced dude. So the soon-to-be ex-husband is in and all through the comments, and I've just been reading through them trying to see if he illuminates anything about the relationship. So let's see if he does in this one. Seal says, first of all, you shouldn't be asking opinions outside of your relationship besides professionals, especially asking another woman. No one knows what you have been through behind closed doors. And then the OP says, I felt this was a gray area, so I asked. There's the legal side. I know I'm entitled to half the value. Then there's the moral side, which from the diversity of the responses so far indicate it is indeed a gray area. So Anselmo says she's entitled to half of your 401k, so why wouldn't you be entitled to half of the business value? You're entitled to a fair 50-50 split of everything. You're close to retirement. You can't afford to play games. What if you got laid off next year? What if you get seriously ill? Don't screw her over, but don't screw yourself over either. Okay, so the thing is, he's already said in his main post that if she were to come after him, it would heavily favor her. So I believe that if he were to start playing these games, that she should just fight and fight hard for his stuff as well. That's the reason why I said that none of this stuff becomes you can flip the gender, because she's working hard building her business, and that could be her retirement. He's sitting up here working, and he probably has a retirement through his job. So I believe that I would hope that a judge would be fair in splitting this up so that both people can walk away and not be financially destitute or something like that. Born Damage says, yes, you are the a-hole. You don't get to punish someone just because they don't want to be with you anymore. Do you think threatening her is going to make her fall in love with you again? And he says, that ship has sailed, my friend. I am curious, though. Why is it punishment if I'm legally entitled to it? This is a genuine question. And then this person says, I think you want to punish her. There's a lot of the story that's missing here. And then that's what the person has said at the bottom. Exactly. It's his vindictiveness for me. He seems angry she doesn't want to be with him anymore. And that's the only reason he wants it. It's a petty control thing to him. It really is. That's what I'm seeing. Because a week and a half ago, he posted in Ask Reddit saying, for people who totally blinded, but he meant blindsided, for people who totally blindsided their spouse when serving them divorce papers, what happened on the day they were served? So he was hoping that she melted down once he served her divorce papers. I don't know if he got that satisfaction because he didn't comment that much in this, but it sounds like he served her papers and was hoping that she was melting down. And then he didn't get the reaction that he was looking for. So now he's about to go for her money. Join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this one. Like, comment, and share. This title, Daughters are raised to serve, sons are raised to be served. And this is the type of thing that causes adult women to go no contact with their mothers. And this is also how these dudes are coming up, and they are so useless in households. This very dynamic right here. Sons are raised to be served. We have got to get out of raising sons to be served. Let's look at the post though. She says, I grew up in an Asian household and this has eaten away at me for years. I will just say this, that this dynamic crosses countries of origin, it crosses culture, it crosses religion, it crosses all the things, because this is just a patriarchy thing. I'm just putting that out there. She says, I just don't understand the dynamic between mothers and daughters versus mothers and sons. My mom is a single mother. Ever since I was little, my mother has treated me like I was born to serve. She yelled at me, hit me, called me lazy. I was the one expected to help her at home, do chores, anticipate her needs. As I got older, the expectations only grew heavier. Help pay the bills, take care of her in old age, basically step into the role of the responsible adult in the family. And it's not like I don't want to help her. I feel obliged, and of course I will. But what kills me is the way I was raised versus how my brother was raised. My brother's babied. He's protected. He doesn't lift a finger in the house because she never taught him to. She doesn't expect him to contribute financially. He does the bare minimum. And by that, I mean literally existing without screwing up too badly. And she praises him like he is the most amazing son on earth. She thanks him. She's grateful. She softens for him. Meanwhile, I can bend over backwards for her, break my back doing everything she asks, and she won't even say thank you once. It's like my work and sacrifices are invisible. And the double standard runs so deep, it makes me sick. I forget to do the dishes once and I get screamed at. My brother makes a huge mistake, something that actually causes problems, and she just sighs and even helps him clean up the mess. Why am I constantly punished, scolded, and treated like I'm never enough, while he is rewarded for the simplest, most basic things? It makes me furious because I know this isn't just about me. This is generational. I've seen it in other families too. Mothers piling responsibility and guilt onto their daughters while coddling their sons into grown men who can't even take care of themselves. And then those same daughters grow up exhausted, resentful, and yet expected to keep sacrificing for everyone else. I keep asking myself, why do mothers do this? Why pass down the same pain to their daughters instead of breaking the cycle? Why do they look at their sons and see someone to protect, and look at their daughters and see free labor, emotional support, and future caretakers? It's like our existence is transactional. I know being a single mother is hard. I know she carries so much on her own, and I will never take away from that. But sometimes it feels like she unloaded that burden onto me because I was the daughter. She toughened me up because she wanted me to survive, but at the cost of softness, love, and patience. She coddled my brother because he was the son, protecting him instead of preparing him. And here I am growing up carrying the weight she couldn't handle. I'm so effing tired of watching my brother skate through life while my mom looks at him with pride for doing nothing. And I'm tired of the fact that no matter how hard I try, I will never be treated with the same softness, patience, or love. And yes, I've told her this. I brought it up a few times. Once I even yelled at her because I was so exhausted, so drained from always being the one expected to carry everything. But she never changes. She brushes it off or says, that's just how it is. She keeps treating me this way because in her eyes, that's what I'm supposed to do. I love my mom a lot, but I resent the way she raised me. I resent how much she took out on me while shielding my brother. For those of you who grew up in similar households, how did you cope with this? Did your moms treat you this way? How do you make peace with the resentment? I'd really love to hear other people's experiences and insight because right now, all I feel is rage and exhaustion. She doesn't tell us how old she is, but it definitely sounds like maybe she's a young adult. She's going to have to get out of her mother's household and separate for a while in order to heal. This is the patriarchy at work, even though it's coming from the mother. It's a patriarchy, and it sounds like an abusive mother. This mother-daughter dynamic, this mother-son dynamic, these boy moms who make their sons into these little princess, not princess, but these little princes. They suck, but they are programmed to put boys at a higher level than the girls. And it's just unfair, and the girls feel it. Girls are not born to be caretakers. Women are not put here to be caretakers for the whole family. These patriarchy patties, they uphold these standards just like the men that are making the standards. And at some point, like she said, why didn't this mom break the cycle? Why is she still treating her daughter like she is the servant? This daughter is going to have to go no contact for a while and heal. And then mom and son are going to have to figure out life. Mom is going to have to figure out life without having a servant. And then the dude is going to have to learn how to live, because soon as he gets out into the world, he's going to be looking for a wife appliance to replace the servant that he had in the home. Let's look at some of the comments. Lysker says, there is a reason why it seems like the majority of men want a trad relationship while most women reject it. You clearly see who is benefiting from it. Imagine coming home from work and having to do nothing while your spouse keeps everything clean, cooks for you, and raises your children, while most women also work at the same time. Ben really had it good. No wonder many are so salty and cry that the good old times are over. Even though, remember, the good old times, they were calling women a ball and chain. All right, he is dead, Jim says. This is called patriarchy, where men rule. While you're in your mother's house, her rules, however warped, hold. Get out, be you, not a servant. And here's the OP saying, you are right. And yes, I've been preparing to leave ASAP. It's the only way I can really live for myself. Good for you, OP. Weary Baby says, it has nothing to do with being a single mother. It's ingrained patriarchy and lack of capacity. That viewpoint, the ingrained nature of her beliefs, actually gives you a way to let go of some resentment. Your mother does not have the self-knowledge to see, care, resent, or try to fix patriarchal inequity. It's literally above her ability. Like, imagine saying to her, Mom, I want you to see yourself as someone who can do anything men can do. And I want you to put me on a pedestal and teach my brother empathy, accountability, and fairness. You might as well ask a raccoon to become a shark. She was brainwashed too deeply for too long. It's not within her capacity to do it. It's that lack of capacity that lets you, if you want to, release some resentment. Would you be angry with the toddler who purposely pushed over a bowl of fruit and then laughed gleefully? You might be annoyed that you are the one picking up the mess, but you wouldn't be angry with the toddler. You wouldn't waste your time and energy resenting the toddler for not being an adult. Why? Because the toddler does not know better. The toddler was just playing. It's not within the toddler's capacity to understand that the playing was inappropriate. Similar when your mother commits fouls against you. You have to imagine a toddler who does not have the capacity to understand the weight of the action. Your mother does not have the capacity to be 15 levels more evolved than she is. She just doesn't. I'm not saying any of this to excuse your mom or mine. What I'm saying is that we can choose within ourselves to allow the resentment to build, or we can choose a way to let go of the resentment. I feel like this is an ultimate excuse. This is like putting her on the level of a toddler is just a big fat excuse. Y'all let me know what you think about me saying that that's a big fat excuse. I do not believe that this mother is on the level of a toddler. Agile Surprise says, disagree. Just don't do the stuff. When she tells you to do it, tell her to get your brother to do it. Stop helping with bills until that happens. The household is a team. Everyone needs to pull their weight. Just say no. Vivid Fly says, and this is how we will break the cycle. We as women today know how hard they've had it before and how we want to make a difference with our own daughters. I've seen more and more women realizing that we don't have to endure the abuse and we can support each other. I wanted to get to this comment from Helpful Hour. She says, gently, I would like to push back on something you said. You are not obligated to help your mother. She decided to have children, not you. She had a moral and legal obligation to support you while you were a child. You do not owe her any of that. I know this isn't what you were raised to believe, but I see how unhappy this belief is making you, so I would urge you to reflect on it. There's nothing wrong with wanting to help your parents, but do it because you want to, not because you're guilted into it. You are being abused financially, emotionally, and even physically, and the reason is because your mother chooses to do so. Does it really matter why she does it? She is hurting you intentionally. That's a choice. Whatever her own trauma is, it doesn't justify it. You have a job and life skills. This gives you leverage. Plan on leaving your mother's house. If you want to soothe your conscience, you can try to talk to her first. Tell her that unless she stops the abuse and makes your brother contribute, you will leave. From everything you wrote, I can guess what her reaction will be, but it might help you solidify your decision. This is your life. You get to decide how to live it, not your abusive mother, not your lazy brother, you. I suggest you have a look at the community, estranged adult child. There are people from different cultural backgrounds, and you may find more specific advice. And here's the OP saying, I appreciate this so much. Yes, you are right. I've been guilting into believing I have to give everything back just because she raised me. I do want to help her, but not at the cost of my sanity. I'm planning to leave as soon as I can. And thanks for the subreddit recommendation. I'll definitely look into it. Wishing you all the best as well. I really hope that this young lady is able to escape because it's the only way she'll be able to live. And I do want to remind us all that we are not raising daughters to be servants. So we need to end this cycle right now. Join the conversation, y'all. Let me know what you think.
Is it just me, or that motherly instinct that some women claim to have is just leadership that's repackaged to fit into the societal structure?
The way some of these dads act after the baby comes is another reason why I will continue to say, let the birth rate plummet to hell. This woman posted in the Am I Overreacting subreddit saying, am I overreacting for blocking my husband's number after leaving me and our 7-month-old baby? When women post in these Am I Overreacting subreddits and the Am I the A-hole subreddit, they are simply looking for validation for feeling normal human emotions, because obviously you're not overreacting if your husband left you and your new baby. Absolutely not. She says, hi, friends. I'm a new mom to a beautiful 7-month-old baby. Both she and her husband are 33. She says, unfortunately, I'm navigating deep heartbreak as my husband and the child's father, someone I've been dating since I was 19 and who I've been married to for 2 years, chose to leave because he's not feeling it anymore. Don't get me wrong, there were signs during pregnancy. So there were signs during pregnancy, not before pregnancy. She's been with this man since she was 19 years old. All right, she says, during pregnancy, as I got bigger, he seemed to resent my requests for help around the house. At one point, when I asked for help taking the garbage out, he said, if you want something done, do it yourself. I fell 2 times taking the garbage out and was shocked at his callousness. This is a man who was happily in love with me for our relationship and through our wedding, and who I've moved across the country with multiple times, and with whom I shared 3 amazing animals and now a baby. Since giving birth, he has made allusions to my weight gain and hormonal fluctuation that has made me very emotional. All of this is leading up to his decision 1 month after the baby was born to leave me because he's not in it anymore. He moved out and I'm the primary caretaker, with him visiting sometimes after work or on his off days. And this is the reason why I say that these dudes can opt in or out of parenting. It's completely unfair that they can want these babies, they can get married, they could say that let's go, let's make this family. And then they could be like, nah, just like putting down a hobby. Like, I really want to take karate. And it's like after a couple of months, nope, I don't want to take karate. This is not a hobby. Y'all made a human and he could just opt out. For months, I've plastered a smile on my face and hoped and prayed that he would realize what he's losing and want to shape up. That's not the case. I asked this week to go to couples therapy, which he is refusing to do because it won't fix anything. I accept that he doesn't want me in his life, but my loved ones around me are urging me to take control and stop letting him walk all over me. As such, I blocked his number and told him that if he wants to see the baby, we can meet at a fixed location, my dad's, so I can avoid the heartbreak and anguish of seeing him at our home. He thinks I'm overreacting and doesn't understand why we can't handle this amicably. What everyone else sees is an overwhelmed, scared, heartbroken mother who's been forced into single momdom. Am I overreacting for blocking his number and having him see his child only if it's at my dad's house? Am I overreacting for wanting to protect myself by speaking with an attorney instead of an unbiased mediator? I'm deep in postpartum depression and I'm seeking counseling, but wanted more unbiased opinions as I've seen fellow heartbroken moms post here about similar situations. Thank you for reading. One thing I want to say is being a single mom has been demonized to the point that some women will stay in a terrible situation or keep pining away because they might become a single mother. And that is part of the problem. It's like we have demonized single mothers so much, even though single mothers don't just become single mothers one day. They do so because the dude left or is checked out, even if he's in the home. So if at some point we can take away the sting or the stigma of being a single mom, leaving a terrible situation, even if you are now a single mom, becomes less depressing because single mothers are not the problem. Single mothers are not the problem. Deadbeat dads are the problem. These dudes that could be there and think that they don't have to do anything are the problem. Stop demonizing single mothers. If you made these babies within a marriage or even outside of a marriage, you're doing your part to take care of your child. They can opt in or opt out regardless of marital status. So stop demonizing single mothers. I'm skipping straight to the good part. This is her update. She says, I am meeting with an attorney this week. Thank you all. It did not even take that many comments. This only has 680 comments in total. So she's already like, I'm doing this, forget this, which is good for her. Poppy Pie says, this is the best thing for you and your baby. File for child support immediately too. I'd also download one of those court-approved co-parenting apps for any communication with him. So it's all available to be viewed and accessible through the courts if need be. So if he starts harassing you or threatening you, etc., you have evidence. Just remember to stay calm and civil yourself, even though I'm sure you want to scream bloody murder at him. But for the sake of getting full custody, just keep it civil. Let him shoot himself in the foot by getting annoyed or frustrated or rude or threatening in the messages. And it can all be used against him, especially if he becomes problematic or aggressive or threatening and you need a restraining order against him. So once you've got the app downloaded, tell him he can only communicate through that going forward. And once he has seen and read the message and has all the details he needs to access it, I'm not sure on the setup process, but once he's read it and got the information, you can block him on all other forms of communication. Get him to respond to the message, agreeing he has read and understood that this is the only way to contact you going forward, and state that you will be blocking him from contacting you on any other contacting service, so he knows he can only contact you on the app. Then block him. I'd also suggest getting some cameras at your dad's house inside and out, and some for your house inside and out too, in case he does become difficult or abusive or argumentative with your dad, etc., so you have video proof. I really hope things work out for you as best they can. It's awful he's done this after so many years, right as you got pregnant and treated you like through the pregnancy, and worse, after the baby was born. Also, if you're breastfeeding, this can limit the amount of time he's able to be with the baby due to feeding times. So if you're not comfortable being at your dad's at the same time, then he only gets short visits between feeding times, so your dad has time to drop the baby back to you, or you get to your dad's after he's left, etc. Make sure you apply for full custody, and then you figure out what visitation he gets. And in the divorce, go for everything you possibly can. Do not be inclined to go easy or accept something less to get it over with. Your solicitor will fight for what you deserve and are entitled to, and hopefully get the child support backdated to the day he left. But make the application ASAP. Good luck, and I wish you the best moving forward. That was really detailed, and that's the reason why I wanted to read that full comment. And that's what the OP says. Thank you for this detailed and thoughtful response. I am sincerely appreciative and will be following this advice. And then Poppy Pie says, you're very welcome. I really hope it helps you. Fearless Friend says, good job. Happy for you. Good luck. And then Final Establishment says, you're doing the right thing. This sucks and it's super hard, but you're taking steps to take care of yourself and your family. You're strong and you're going to get through this. I think that she is. Sometimes I do believe, and I really do believe, not sometimes, that women just type this stuff out and it helps to solidify that they need to move on. Join the conversation, y'all. Let me know what you think about all of this. I'm pushing towards 100K over on my YouTube channel. Go ahead and smash follow and turn on the notification bells. All right, like, comment, and share.
Your body, your choice, right? Well, let's explore that for a little bit, shall we? Imagine if women all across the globe decided not to give birth. Not for life, just for 10 years. Here's what would happen year by year. And by year 30, whew, that's when the real damage hits. Year 1, nothing changes. Yet. Pregnancies finish term, men laugh it off, the government ignore it, but the data already flatlining. Years 2 to 4, hospitals shut maternity wards, toy shops downsize, and nurseries close. And men start hopping on podcasts saying, modern women hate families. You know we love a podcast. But the women stay silent. It's 5 to 7, with no toddlers, no school intakes, childcare jobs vanish, and baby formula stock crash. Politicians offer payouts, prize, promises, but the women are like, we don't want it. Years 8 to 10, desperation hits, and dating apps are shifting. Buyers are now reading, looking for something serious. Want kids ASAP. Yo, I'm ready to build still. But it doesn't matter. Women have already said 10 years, and that's it. How am I making myself crack up? Years 11 to 15. First baby in a decade is born, but the system's already broke up. With no nursery, no primary school, no early years infrastructure, the entire globe has forgotten how to educate the very young. Years 16 to 20. The labour gap widens, and older men call it a lost generation. And the same ones who mock the strike are the same ones who can't find carers, teachers or staff. You see, the strike may have ended, but the damage sure didn't. Years 21 to 25. Protest erupts. Fertility strike ruined us! But women didn't ruin anything. They just paused and let the world sit in that silence. Years 26 to 29, cultural stagnation. No next-gen musicians, no rising athletes, AIs filling jobs. That's probably happening anyway. A decade lost becomes a century delayed. Year 30. 30 years later, humanity's still here, but changed forever. Turns out, women don't need to start a war to shift power. They just need to stop giving birth. 10 years was enough, not to end the world, but to remind it who built it. Now drop a comment if you want to know what happens by year 50, and follow if you're done watching passively. We decode the myth,